back to Nana Sports, and first of all, good evening to you. So,
Thank you.
my first question is to you that you have had a remarkable career at the Commonwealth Games with three medals to your name. So, what was the initial reaction when you heard that squash would not be part of the 2026 Commonwealth Games?
So the Commonwealth Games has always been a very, very special kind of event, not just for me personally, but I think for every squash player who has been part of the Commonwealth countries. We haven't been part of the Olympics before. The first time we are
Yeah.
going to be in is in LA 28. So the Commonwealth Games and the Asian Games have been like the epitome of our like sporting achievement, so to say, right? Leaving the World Championships aside. So to hear that we're not going to be there in 26 at the Commonwealth Games was personally very disappointing. Obviously, it's an event that we look forward to every 4 years. It's a tournament which has the highest pedigree of players, and to win a medal at the Commonwealth Games in squash is a massive achievement. And to not have the opportunity to be able to kind of go for another medal at the Commonwealths in 26 is distressing. But it is what it is, and we hope that we can get a little bit more clarity as to why squash hasn't been included, because we feel like we tick all the right boxes. But that is a wait and watch kind of scenario right now.
Okay, and with squash set to make its Olympic debut at LA 228, so how significant is this shift for the sports in terms of global recognition and opportunities for athletes like yourself?
I mean, the Olympics is the be all and end all, isn't it? It's the biggest thing in the world. It's the
Yeah,
biggest sporting platform that you can possibly have to showcase what you're all about. And I think squash players are arguably one of the best athletes around the world, and we richly deserve the opportunity to showcase that on the biggest platform, which is the Olympics. So I think every squash player, both who professional as well as just amateur, recreational, everyone is very, very happy about the fact that we are in LA, and very excited to see what squash brings to the games, and it's hopefully going to kickstart a lot of progress in the sport and kind of broad base the sport in a lot of ways, not just in different countries but in individual countries as well, like India, for example. Like, we hope that being in the Olympics is going to help more kids get into the game, have almost like a very tangible goal in front of them. To win an Olympic medal is a big thing. It's a very, very proud honor to have if you are A, an Olympian to begin with, and B, to win an
yeah.
Olympic medal. It's a scarce commodity for Indians. So I think everyone is going to work really hard this generation, and it gives, like I said, a tangible goal and reward to the future generations to aim towards.
And the decision to reduce the number of sports in 126 Commonwealth Games due to exceptional circumstances is, I think, it's understandable. So, but do you think this sends the right message for a sport that has been a core part of the Commonwealth Games for so long?
Look, I think, like you said, the number of sports has been reduced from, if I'm correct, it was from 19, it's gone down to 10,
Yeah.
which is a significant reduction. There are no racket sports included in the Commonwealth Games in 26, which is sad for every single one of those sports, right? And all the others as well. So we are very hopeful that this is a one off, that Glasgow will not be setting a precedent in terms of future Commonwealth Games. We have been assured by the Commonwealth Games Federation that 2030 onwards, normal service will resume, so to say. So, like I said, we are waiting and watching, and hopefully, things will fall on the right side, not just for us, but every other sport that has been
Everyone.
overlooked for these games.
And how has life been for you since your retirement from professional squash?
I think I have a little bit more time on my hands, so I'm spending a little bit more time with family. But I mean, I've started training again because, like I said earlier as well, that I do want to play for India. And if I play for India, I want to be playing at my best. So there are certain things that I will have to do and fulfill to be able to play for India. So I've started training again, and hopefully When the time comes, I will play what is required and do well, and then obviously, win medals for India. That's the end goal, and has always been. I will do my best, and hopefully it'll happen for me.
And you have represented India on global squash stage for many years too. Do you feel the exclusion of squash from the 2026 Commonwealth Games will impact sports popularity and development in countries like India, where it has grown considerably?
Look, I think it is a sad moment for us that we are not in the Commonwealths. But I think being in the Olympics is kind of like helping us tide over it in a big way, right? We
Yeah,
wanted to get into the Olympics for a good part of 20 years, and we've been trying really hard, and it hasn't happened, and it's finally happened for 28. So I think being in the Olympics, I think everyone is just so ecstatic about it that the disappointment of the Commonwealth Games is not as strong or as acute as it might have been if we weren't in the Olympics. But having said that, the Commonwealth Games is, like I said, always been a very important tournament on the squash calendar, and it will be a miss for everyone associated with the sport to not see squash at the Commonwealth Games in 26.
right. And Anaha Singh again has had a phenomenal 2024 clinching six tournament victories. He also triumphed in both juniors and senior national championship as a 16-year old with extraordinary talent. What does the future hold for this rising star?
Look, obviously she has done well, up to this point in her career, and she definitely has a lot of potential. Has shown a great amount of promise, but it is, not an easy transition to go from the juniors to the seniors at the world level.
Yeah,
It takes time. People need to have patience. Need to let her grow as a player. She needs to find her way, find her own identity, so that she can impose herself on the world stage at the senior level. There might be a few bumps on the road. That doesn't mean that one bad tournament is going to define her career. So I think she has great potential. She is definitely the one to look out for as of now in the next generation. And she is working hard and trying to do the right things. And hopefully, for her sake and for India's sake, she will kind of like push through and do wonders for India in the future.
last of the questions, sir. Looking ahead, how do you think squash can continue to grow in importance on both the national and international level, especially with a goal of increasing visibility before the LA Olympics?
Yeah, so I think we're trying to kind of adapt in a number of ways. I think getting it on live television is a big thing for us. We want to be able to show what the sport is about to a wider audience, and television, whether it be through on demand or through just normal linear TV, is something which is very high on our agenda. I think getting more kids playing at the grassroots levels through schools, and smaller cities, so to say, is also important, especially in India. I think there's a lot of talent, which is kind of hidden almost, because squash has always been kind of in the big cities, so to say, the metropolitan cities. I think penetrating into the smaller tier two, tier three cities will be something which will unearth a lot of talent and potential, and numbers will increase. And if the numbers increase, the probability is that we are going to produce more top level players. So I think those are the two things which I think will have the greatest impact to kind of popularize the sport and make it more broad based in terms of mass appeal.
One last question. What would you like to say to young players in India and around the world who may be disappointed by the decision to leave squash out of the game 2026? So, how can they stay motivated for future opportunities?
I think the squash calendar, thankfully worldwide, is quite robust and quite strong. There are a number of big tournaments which are there, in which you have the opportunity to showcase what you're all about.
Yeah,
Obviously, for the kids from India and in Asia, especially the Asian Games is a big one, which is also in 2026. So that is something to really look forward to. But other than that, like I said, there is Professional Squash Association World Tour, wherein you really have to you know test yourself and get high up in the rankings. On the juniors side, there is the British Junior Open and the World Juniors. So I think there are enough tournaments to kind of give you the opportunity to test what you've trained for, really. And the Commonwealth Games will be a miss, but it is something that is not in your hands, it's not in your control. So there's no point kind of trying to think that, oh, what if it was there and I would have done this or done that, because it's not there now. So there's no point crying over spilt milk. You need to focus on what is there and try to do the best you can with it.
And what next for Saurav Ghoshal?
Well, I'm hoping that I can play for India at some point in the near future. So sometime next year, and take it from there, and hopefully make it to Asian Games and do really well. And then finally, obviously, the LA 28 Olympics is there. If I can push it till then, it would be great. If I can be an Olympian and win an Olympic medal for India, that would be the icing on the cake for, I wouldn't say a career, but a life that has given me so much. So yeah, hopefully.
Okay, and thank you so much, sir, for giving us your time and speaking to us, and all the best for the future.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.